Emily never thought a quiet Saturday morning could unravel her entire past in a single heartbeat. The cafe was warm, filled with the soft hum of conversation, the clink of cups, and the smell of fresh coffee. It was her favorite place in town, the one spot where she felt safe enough to breathe, to think, to exist without memories chasing her. Or so she thought. She had chosen the table by the window, sunlight brushing her hands as she scrolled through emails, pretending she wasn't lonely. Pretending she wasn't still healing. Then she saw him. Table 4. Near the back. Laughing softly as he stirred his coffee. Jason. Her ex. The man she had loved for 7 years. The man who promised forever and left her with silence instead. Her body reacted before her mind did. Her fingers tightened around the mug. Her chest constricted. The cafe noise faded into a distant blur as memories rushed back uninvited. The fights. The tears. The night he walked out with a suitcase and never looked back. Emily felt frozen, as if any movement might shatter her. She told herself to stand up. To walk out. To disappear before he noticed her. But her legs refused to move. Jason looked older. His hair was shorter, streaked faintly with gray. His face carried a seriousness she didn't remember, a weight that hadn't been there before. For a brief, cruel moment, Emily wondered if he had ever carried that weight for her. She turned her head away, hoping against hope that he wouldn't look up. But fate wasn't done with her yet. Because at that exact moment, a small voice broke the tension. "Dad, can I get a muffin?" Emily flinched. The voice belonged to a little boy, no older than 6, sitting at the table beside hers. She hadn't noticed them before. The boy had bright eyes and a crooked smile, swinging his legs beneath the chair. Across from him sat a man in his mid-30s, rugged but gentle-looking, wearing a worn jacket and the tired expression of someone who carried responsibility every day. The man smiled at the boy. "Sure, buddy. Blueberry or chocolate chip?" "Blueberry," the boy said confidently. As the man stood to order, his eyes shifted briefly and landed on Emily. He noticed her pale face. Her rigid posture. The way her eyes were locked on table 4 like she'd seen a ghost. He didn't stare. He didn't ask questions. But he noticed. And that mattered more than Emily knew at the time. Jason suddenly glanced up. Their eyes met. For one terrible second, the world stopped. Recognition flashed across his face, followed by surprise, then something softer. Regret, maybe. Emily looked away immediately, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure everyone could hear it. This was a mistake. Coming here was a mistake. She grabbed her purse, ready to bolt, when a gentle voice spoke beside her. "Hey," the man from the other table said quietly. "You okay?" Emily swallowed. She nodded too quickly. "Yeah, I need some air." The man hesitated, then nodded. "My son's finishing his muffin. We'll be here if you need anything." It was such a simple sentence. But the kindness in it cracked something open inside her. She stood up and headed toward the door, her hands shaking. Outside, the cold air hit her face, grounding her just enough to breathe. She leaned against the brick wall, trying to steady herself. A minute later, the door opened again. It wasn't Jason. It was the single dad. "Sorry," he said gently. "I didn't mean to intrude. I just wanted to make sure you were okay." Emily let out a shaky laugh. "I'm fine. Or I will be." He nodded, respecting her space. "I'm Mark." "Emily." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Emily surprised herself by speaking again. "Have you ever run into someone who completely wrecked your life when you least expected it?" Mark smiled. "Sadly. I married her." Emily laughed, a real laugh this time, though her eyes filled with tears. Mark continued, his voice calm. "She passed away 3 years ago. Cancer. Since then, it's just been me and Liam." Emily's breath caught. "I'm so sorry." "Thank you. It's a journey." Something about his honesty made Emily feel less alone. Less foolish for being shaken by a ghost from her past. They went back inside together. Jason was still at table 4. Emily's stomach clenched again, but Mark walked beside her, not touching her, just close enough to make her feel supported. They sat back down at their respective tables. Liam grinned at Emily. "Dad says you look sad. But I think you look nice." Emily smiled. "Thank you, Liam." Jason noticed the interaction. His eyes followed Mark. Something unreadable crossed his face. A few minutes passed. Then Jason stood up. Emily's heart slammed against her ribs. He walked toward her table. Mark noticed immediately. He met Jason's gaze and stepped slightly closer to Emily, not aggressively, just protectively. Jason stopped short. Emily, Jason said quietly. I didn't expect to see you here. Neither did I, she replied, her voice steady despite the storm inside. There was an awkward pause. I'm glad you're okay, Jason said finally. You look happy. Emily almost laughed at the irony. But before she could respond, Mark spoke. She is, Mark said calmly. And we were just about to leave. Emily looked at him, surprised. Jason nodded slowly. Of course. I didn't mean to interrupt. He walked away. Emily's knees felt weak. Outside, she turned to Mark. You didn't have to do that. I know, he said. But sometimes people need a door closed for them. That sentence stayed with her. They exchanged numbers that day, under the pretense of playdates for Liam, though both knew it was more than that. Over the following weeks, Emily found herself looking forward to Mark's texts. Coffee turned into walks. Walks turned into dinners. Liam became a constant source of laughter in her life. Mark never pushed. Never rushed. He listened. Then one evening, everything changed. Emily received a message from Jason. I need to talk. It's important. Against her better judgment, she agreed to meet him. He looked nervous when they sat across from each other. I left you because I was scared, he admitted. I wanted marriage, kids, stability, but I felt like I was failing. I thought leaving would fix me. Emily listened quietly. I was wrong, he continued. I never stopped loving you. The words she once begged to hear now felt hollow. I've moved on, Emily said softly. Jason's jaw tightened. With the guy from the cafe. Yes. Jason leaned back. You don't even know him. Emily smiled faintly. I know enough. That night, she told Mark everything. He listened without interruption. Then he did something that shocked her. He said, if you ever feel unsure about us, I want you to explore that. I don't want to be your rebound. I want to be your choice. Emily stared at him, tears streaming down her face. That's when she knew. Months later, Emily stood in the same cafe, table 4 now empty behind her. Mark sat across from her. Liam was coloring. Mark reached into his pocket. Emily froze again. But this time, it was for a different reason. He proposed. And she said yes. Ending engagement question.